So yesterday I deep watered my garden, like with the hose. I went around and got everything really well watered and everything like that. So of course last night it rained and we got like almost 3/4 of an inch of rain. Not sure if I know this thing is not accurate because it's been pounded by hail, and the top of it was like a little funnel thing. It got smashed to pieces. So I put an upside down cut off water bottle in there and taped it on to fix it. And it's kind of about the same size as that, but I'm sure that makes a difference in how well it registers. And then I had to go mark the tube again, because the way they make them, they just fade in the sun. It's kind of silly the way they do it, but anyway, we've been having some crazy circumstances. I've got an air conditioner to fix, and but what we're going to do today is talk about positive stuff. Let's pick some tomatoes. These watermelon plants are growing like weeds, and there are some watermelons. I know that this fence thing is going to be a pain, but anyway, there's a watermelon right there. That's about bigger than a softball. And then there's some other little ones, like there's another little one right there. So those are the only two I've seen so far, but I'll bet you there's more in here. If we're lucky, we'll get about 10 watermelons. These plants, they take off once it gets really hot. These stringers are going out into my walkway, but I can walk around them. I'm not going to disturb them. It won't be that much longer before we're harvesting these. So and yeah, look, the watermelons are doing great. So one of the things that I do that, I don't know, some people might not agree with it, but I don't let my tomatoes ripen on the vine, because when they do, the birds tend to get them. So this is garden raised bed number 3 here. Sorry about the camera jumping around. This is raised bed number 3 here, and these are starting to ripen up. This is a hybrid called BHN 589, and this plant here particularly is doing very well, and it's underneath the shade cloth, as you can see here. And it's got 3 that are what I consider ready to pick, so they're going to get picked before the birds decide to get after them. Plus another thing too, when it rains like this, plus I watered yesterday, there's a lot of water in the ground, and these things will be susceptible to cracking like any tomato will when it's ripening up. Well, that one's got a little blemish on it, but no problem, we can cut around that. So on that plant we got 3 tomatoes. That's nice. And then there's 3 tomato plants here, and then here's some more that are ready to pick here. We're gonna have a big harvest today. This might be the biggest harvest we have all year, I don't know. When I pick them, I just twist them, because when you pull on them, you can damage stuff. So looks like we're gonna get 3 off of this plant too. That one's got a little bit of a pink tinge to it. So there we go. Just in raised bed number 3, and there's 6 tomatoes already. So let's see if there's any more here that I might have missed. Oh, there's one right there. 2. Let's see. One right there. One right there. And I think this one's touching the ground, which is and it's turned pink, so I'm picking it. Not good when they're touching the ground. This is when the bugs get them, especially once they start to ripen up. So on those 3 plants, each of them had 3 tomatoes. That's consistency right there. And they'll come fast now. These determinants tend to have all their tomatoes ripen at about the same time. And so raised bed number 2, this is a variety called BHN 602, and this is a damage. This tomato here is damaged, and damaged tomatoes tend to ripen, so that one's going to ripen, but I'm going to give that a little bit more time. This one here is turning pink, so I'm going to take this one. Amazing how they are all ripening at the same time. I've already got like, I don't know how many, but I've got a lot of tomatoes inside. 20 at least, probably more. But this one doesn't want to come off. That one took the stem off. But anyway, you can see it's a little bit pink, so it's going before the birds decide to eat it. There's an interesting development. That's one of those Anaheim, or not Anaheims, I always make that mistake. Hatch chilies. These are called Big Jims. The seed sellers aren't allowed to call them hatch because they're not grown in Hatch, New Mexico, which is a town in New Mexico. That's why they call them hatch chilies. And let's look at these. These are celebrities here. And I'm not seeing any pink tomatoes on those. And looks like just the one off the 2 BHN 602s. These plants are just, they didn't do well because they're crammed too far close together. I also had pest issues on these plants because, and I'm going to say, that's because one of the reasons why is because they've been crammed too far together. They're close together and they're fighting for nutrients, and which will make a plant unhealthy. So the bugs, what I had here was the stink bugs, the ones that have the back that's shaped like a shield. And I did spray for them. I sprayed spinosad on them, Captain Jack's dead bug juice, which works really good. And I also spot sprayed some of them with an insecticidal soap. And right now I don't see any, but it's not going to kill all of them. They'll come back. So, yeah, these plants have puny tomatoes on them, and they're not doing that great. Now here's our golden nugget. It's got a few to pick. Those are starting to turn yellow. I'm gonna let those go another day or so. What else do we have here? There's a couple more. I see 3 right now. These are good tomatoes. They're not cracking like my the Sun Golds. I got this variety kind of to replace Sun Gold, because Sun Golds are really tasty tomatoes, but they crack. And like virtually every one that I grew last year cracked. So it rained pretty hard last night. It rained hard enough to put my fire out, and that's pretty good because I had a couple of big sized cedar logs on there and it was blazing, and it put it out. So, okay, so here's what we have so far, and we haven't even gotten to the cedar log garden yet, which is right here. And the first thing I see is a mortgage lifter. Look at that baby. That is a nice tomato. Let's get it. Stem on this plant is split open, but it's still producing. So now these plants will, you know, they're supposed to be indeterminate, but with the hot weather that we get here, we've already hit 100 degrees a couple days. So with the hot weather you get in central Texas, your tomatoes grow until about June, the end of June maybe, if it's a good year, and then it's done. So that's a pretty nice tomato, beefsteak style. I haven't even tasted one of these yet because I don't have any that are ripe. I did give some of them away to the guy who cut my trees though. He liked that. And here's a couple more mortgage lifters that have some pink on them. That one there, might try to leave these for another day because the one, when I pick that one, it's gonna knock that other one off. So let's go around and look. Yeah, this one here is pink too. Yeah, I can get that one. I gotta set the phone down for a minute. Well, I ended up picking all of those. One of them has some pest damage on it. And I did find a stink bug on there and I dispatched him. So I have no problem doing that with those things. I hate those things. They'll ruin a tomato plant or all the tomatoes just by putting their little stings in them. So that's mortgage lifter I got. Let's see. 5 big tomatoes off of that. This is probably the nicest one here. Not quite ripe yet, but they'll ripen up. They always do. So this one here, you know, we'll try to see what happens, but you know, it might be a fail. Might have to cut that bad part out and make fried green tomatoes with it. So anyway, my little bowl that I brought out, actually that's a big bowl, it's totally full, and I know there's more tomatoes in here to pick. There's another mortgage lifter right there that's starting to pink up, but I'm not going to pick that one today. Somebody's running a blower here. Want to show you, this is the first patty stripe beefsteak tomato that is ripening up, and these are beautiful. I'll be picking that in a minute. I'm going to turn this off so you don't have to listen to that noise. That noise is the Terminex guy next door. He's got one of those backpack foggers out. He's fogging for mosquitoes and other things. We have lots of bugs here. Chiggers, mosquitoes, ticks, gnats. Gnats are the most annoying things I've ever seen. They drive me crazy. All right, that's not quite as annoying as it was. Let's get that patty stripe beefsteak. Collect that one. What a beautiful, that's a beautiful tomato. It's already really soft. So I'm going to set the phone down while I pick these because it's not good doing it with one hand. All right, so I have picked everything that's eligible for picking, except for some cucumbers. I got to get some of those in a minute, but I have to go in and empty this thing and get it and bring it back out. So here's what I got. After further observation, I have 4 patty stripe beefsteak, and here's what they look like. Actually, that'll ripen up and turn a lot more yellow than that and get a little more red in it. It's beautiful tomatoes. I grew them one time before. This one here was sitting on the ground, and that's what happens. Some grubs or some kind of bug got in there. It's like, yeah, if you can see, I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a pill bug right there. There was a pill bug right there. So anyway, I don't know if we can salvage anything out of this. We'll see. So we got 4 patty striped beefsteaks. These are black crim here. Just kind of show you what they look like. They'll get a lot darker than that when they ripen. That one's got a little something. That one was on the ground too. Something got in it. So that lowering that I did to, you know, because the plants grew so tall, kind of made some of these tomatoes susceptible. And that one's just starting to turn pink, but I picked it anyway. And those two there are big beef hybrids, and most of those aren't ripe yet. And out of all my better boys, these are better boys here, I only had one plant that's really producing anything. The other one's got pounded by hail really hard. See, that one's got some kind of damage, probably hail damage. And so yeah, I got that one better boy. They make nice tomatoes, but those plants got slaughtered during that tornado. So there's today's tomato harvest. This is fun, makes me smile. And Mortgage Lifters, by far the most impressive looking tomatoes. BHN, the most tomatoes are off the 3 BHN 589 plants. And so the only plants that I didn't get any tomatoes off of all the varieties that I grew are the celebrities. And that's those 3 there, and those plants are just crammed too close together. I put 5 plants in that 8-foot bed together, and I didn't trim them, so it's just a bad deal. And I need to curb my enthusiasm when I'm putting seedlings in the ground. Probably 3 on each side of one of those beds is plenty if you're not going to trim them. If you're going to tie them up like I did these, that's a different story. But that has its own set of problems with it too. So anyway, that's the tomato picking for Wednesday. I believe it's the 29th of May, 2024. And I've got a few more things to do. No burning today because it rained. But I'm going to chop up some of the branches of the brush that I've got to burn. And I've got to work on my air conditioner and do some canning. That's all I have to do today. Kind of eating some hackberry leaves. Not sure why they do that, but they sure do like them. Both of them do. I just picked a cucumber off of these plants here. I cleaned them out yesterday. And I picked 3 off of that. Those are national pickling cucumbers, and this is a new variety this year called Sumter. And they've been producing very well. And if you have a ladybug or a lady beetle, whatever you want to call that, and it's probably getting ready to snack on some aphids. Oh, here's another one I missed. Yeah, that could get bigger. But I think I'll go ahead and pick it. The cucumbers are doing really well this year. We have already put up 7 quarts. There's another little one on the ground there. I'll let that get bigger. There's another one. I put up 7 quarts of pickles so far, and there's a lot more to be done. I need to do I'm going to do some sweet pickles. There's another one. Just holding the phone and picking vegetables doesn't work that great. I'm not used to it. So, yeah, this is a Big harvest day for me. That's enough for a jar of pickles right there. The one on the end is one of the, well, actually, I'm mixed up now. The three on the left are Sumters. The one on the right, far right, is a Sumter, and the three next to that are National Pickling Cucumbers, which is another great variety I've grown in the past. So I think I'm done picking for today. I could pick some serrano peppers because I need to do something with those too. Got a bunch of those in the fridge already, but I think I'm gonna wait on that because I've got too much to do. So yeah, what a nice harvest, huh? These are the best days in the garden here, other than picking watermelons. I like that the best. All right, so there's today's harvest. We got 31 tomatoes, 7 cucumbers, and an eggplant. Actually, if you count it would actually be 36 tomatoes if you count the little ones. But anyway, and that includes the one Patty's striped beefsteak that got kind of destroyed by bugs, but maybe we'll get something to eat out of that. And the eggplants, we have several of those now. Nancy already made eggplant lasagna, and she might make more of that, but she's also planning on doing some stuffed eggplant. So those will keep coming for a while. They love the hot weather. But yeah, nice harvest. Probably the biggest tomato harvest we'll have this year, but we'll see. Hopefully they'll keep chugging on with that shade cloth on them.